Thanks to Windows' questionable choices lately, many people are looking to switch to Linux. But despite a good faith effort, most can't seem to make it happen. Not because they can't actually install Linux, but because their favorite game or program simply refuses to work. EVE Online is one of those tricky games that inadvertently locks people into Windows. However, as a Linux newbie, I'm here to tell you that you've got the key right in your pocket. No command line, no wine, no Lutris. Just Fedora, a clean application called Bottles, and GNOME's built-in workspace functionality. Running Windows applications on Linux isn't particularly hard, especially with Steam's epic work on the Proton compatibility layer, but I want to run EVE through the normal launcher, without Steam, which makes things a bit harder. Furthermore, I want to multi-box 4 accounts and be able to switch between them instantly with specific keybinds. On Windows, this was easily accomplished with a program called Evo Preview. But on Linux, Evo Preview, despite getting some recent Linux support, is iffy. And because I don't even need thumbnail previews, overkill for my use case. This video aims to completely cut through the nonsense and provide a simple, replicable solution for EVE multiboxers that want to flick between clients on Linux without the headaches. Although learning how to use the command line is awesome, this method assumes you hate it. This technique is not perfect, and I'll be making all types of assumptions about your knowledge level, but I can personally guarantee that if your hardware permits, you can do this. Before I lay out the steps you'll be taking to recreate my multiboxing setup on Linux, you'll benefit from hearing the plan laid out in short form. First, we'll be installing and updating Fedora Workstation, which I will not be teaching you how to do, but I'll have a link with instructions in the description for both AMD and NVIDIA users. Then we'll set up an application called Bottles and install EVE within the Bottles infrastructure. Lastly, we'll set up GNOME's Workstation keybinds to recreate the flicking of windows that Evo Preview provides in Windows. Now, I know you might be going, bro, how are you going to make a tutorial but not walk me through the installation of the operating system itself? And the answer to that is simple. You don't need me to, and I don't want to. Installing Linux is easy as hell in 2024. I'm talking easy for grandmas. Do you have a USB stick and a hard drive? Congratulations, you are eligible. If you have no clue what you're doing, go to the video description and check out the link I provided on how to install Fedora Workstation. Do this and come back once you're smiling ear to ear wondering what the heck took you so long. For everyone else, make sure your packages are updated, your graphics drivers are installed, and you are comfortable navigating the operating system before proceeding. With Fedora set up, we're going to install Bottles next. Open up the software application and in the top left corner, you'll see a magnifying lens. Click it and search for Bottles. This is an application that aims to streamline what I feel was a hectic Lutris experience. Click Bottles, install it, and open it up. You'll be greeted by a fairly empty screen with Bottles and Library up top. In the upper left corner again, is a big plus mark. Click it to create a new bottle. Name the bottle EVE and select the custom environment. Choose CAF 9.7 runner, 64-bit architecture, and finish by clicking on the blue Create button. It will generate a new bottle for us to work with. With a fresh bottle created, you should now be looking at an interface headed by Details. At this point, you'll need to head over to the EVE Online website and download their latest Windows launcher. Back in Bottles, click on plus Add Shortcut and navigate to and select the installer exe you just downloaded. In the Details interface, the Programs list should now list the installer. You will need to install some dependencies before you install the game itself. Click on Dependencies, scroll down, and download .NET 48 and VC Redist 2022. These installs may take a long time, so please be patient. we do need to turn on DX11 support through Vulkan before we launch the game, or it's going to be a hot mess. So let's do that real quick. You can toggle this on by going into Settings and DXVK. Make sure this is enabled 2.4.1 as of this publication. With the environment now properly set up for Eve, it's time to launch the installer. Click on the play button and follow the installer as you would with Windows. But before you log into the game for the first time, I suggest that you change the launcher's settings to DirectX 11 from DirectX 12. And if you want to import your settings from Windows, you can do that now. Access your new Eve directory with the 3-dot menu at the top of the Details window. It's the same structure as Windows from that point: app data, local, CCP, Eve, and so on. You can simply copy and paste your settings files. Once satisfied, log into your accounts. Congratulations, you can now play Eve on Linux. The last thing to do is to remove the setup file from the programs list of your bottle. So go to the setup launcher right here, 3 dots, and remove from list. What you'll be left with is just the Eve Online launcher itself, not the installer. And a quick little tip for this is to go to the 3 dots on this and add a desktop entry. That way you can access the launcher without even needing to boot up bottles. Very handy. If for some reason you have made it this far and you're not seeing the Eve-Online program in the shortcuts list, here's what you're going to do to add it. Click Add Shortcuts, and you're going to navigate to this location. Home.local, this is going to be hidden. Share, bottles, Eve, drive C. This is our root directory for our bottle. From here, you're going to want to go to Users, whatever your username is, App Data, Local, Eve Online, eve-online.exe. This is what you'll point the shortcut to if you ever lose it, or maybe it never showed up. You would simply add a new shortcut to that location. This is how you play Eve. So far, none of this was particularly revelatory. Bottles basically uses Proton and Wine to accomplish its goals, after all. But there's more to this guide than just setting up Eve in a bottle. And that's the ability to reliably manipulate multi-box setups without needing Windows programs or requiring any tinkering with Linux Windows managers. We accomplish this by tapping into GNOME's Workspace functionality. Workspace is basically a tab like in your browser, but for your desktop. You can have as many as you want. They're used for multitasking and productivity, but we're going to use it for our own process, to flick between clients. To configure GNOME Workspaces, open up the Settings application once again and click on Multitasking. Although dynamic works just fine for now, select Fixed Number of Workspaces and enter in the number of clients that you personally use. I use 4. Then check Workspaces on Primary Display only if you have multiple monitors. Next, back in the Settings category, go to Keyboard and scroll down to View and Customize Shortcuts. Under Navigation, you're looking for the entries that say Switch to Workspace XYZ. To copy my setup, bind keys to Switch to Workspace 1, Switch to Workspace 2, 3, and Switch to Workspace 4. Now, using these keys, we can rapidly flick between workspaces. The only thing left to do is simply launch our clients and drag them into the 4 workspaces. This is not an endgame solution to multiboxing on Linux. For one, it's missing the preview thumbnails that many people rely on. But I would hope that a more elegant solution is discovered and dispersed among the masses. But for now, while it's not perfect, this is pretty slick. It will do. If you have any questions about this technique, have any corrections to offer me, or have something else to say, leave a comment and I'll do my absolute best to get back to you. Thank you for watching, and please get the hell off of Windows.